Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's podcast. Taking care of business today with Tim Sanderson, executive vice president of retail for JLL Canada. Thanks for joining us today, Tim.
My pleasure. Good morning, Mario.
All right, let's talk about a new survey that JLL recently put out, talking about holiday shopping. 39% of Canadians are looking to save money this year. Is that a high number, a surprising number to you?
It's a little higher than we've seen. Coming out of COVID, of course, savings accounts were quite robust as people hadn't been spending money. But
Yeah.
I think inflationary worries are causing a little bit of concern amongst the consumer across the country. So 39% is a little higher than we would normally see it, but not significantly.
Okay, then. Who's going to benefit from this? From the fact that there's going to be more people out there looking at different ways to save their money when they're shopping.
What we found from this year's survey, Mario, is that saving was the top priority, and getting family and friends together is another expression of the holiday season that we're seeing. People are saying, hey, maybe a little bit less money spent, but at the same time, experience and enjoying the comfort of family and friends over the holiday season seems to be a priority this year.
Okay, what about the types of retailers that they're going to benefit from this kind of mentality?
We're seeing people indicating that there's an uptick on fashion, so they're going to be spending their money on clothing. Cosmetics are always a big category around the Christmas holidays, especially if people are true to their word and they're going to be spending more time with family and friends and maybe going out for the odd dinner or party. And electronics are always a high item when it comes to the Christmas holiday season.
Okay. Do you think more people this year, because of wanting to save money, are going to frequent places like the Dollaramas of the world or the Walmarts of the world?
Walmart was high in terms of people saying where they're going to shop this year. Certainly do believe that Canada is a marketplace where we've seen the exit of Nordstrom this year. I mean, you and I have talked about that. So super high-end retail remains at the top echelon of the income demographic. And I think Canada is still a market where people are looking for value. So to your point, the Walmarts of the world, the Dollaramas of the world, yes, I see them having a good Christmas season.
Okay, and one of the interesting things I found for the report is the preference of in-store shopping by people. Can you talk a little bit about that, Tim, and why?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of people saying they're going to be frequenting shopping malls, which is great, and they're going to be doing it for a number of reasons. They're going to be doing it to buy gifts. They're going to be doing it for dining purposes. And as more shoppers plan to eat and or drink in a shopping center, average dwell time goes up, reaching over 65 minutes this year. In 2021, just by comparison, that 65 minutes was closer to 50 minutes. And we all know what happens when people spend more time at a shopping center. Conversion ratios go up and they spend more money. So that's good for, the shopping center industry.
Okay. And what do you think retailers need to do this year to be successful, I guess?
I mean, I think as always, they have to have the right product on the shelves at the right time of the season. And I mean, customer service, I think, is still, a frustrating thing, I think, in Canada for a large number of retailers. And, a lot of these consumers today are quite savvy. They've got their shopping decision made before they leave the house, thanks to the internet and being able to browse online. So when they walk into a store, it's like, yes, I want that product and I want it now. And, depending on the store, you still need that customer service experience to be able to direct that consumer in the right direction, whether it be to a fitting room to try something on, whether it be to the back of the Canadian Tire store to find that item that is in there somewhere, but you can never seem to find without help. So customer service, I think, is still a big issue, and one that retailers are, I know, working hard to address.
But it's a tough one for them, isn't it? Because I keep hearing out there that that there's labor shortages, and retail is one of the big areas of where there's shortages. So it's a tough spot to be in, I guess.
Very, very, very much so. And hiring seasonally is difficult to train these people for a few
Yeah.
weeks of the year or a month and a half of the year. We don't see as much of that as we used to in the old days. And I think it's something that needs to be addressed.
What about some other points from the report that you found interesting, Tim?
Well, you touched on the different retailers, and the top 10 retailers in Canada for this holiday season, in order of preference from the people that responded to the survey, were Amazon being number one, not surprising. Walmart number two, Best Buy, and we talked about electronics, being number three, Costco number four, HBC or Hudson's Bay number five, then Canadian Tire, Winners, Indigo, Sephora with cosmetics, Old Navy. And Sephora and Old Navy are new to that list this year, which is kind of interesting. Amazon takes the top spot this year as the preferred retailer in Canada after tying with Walmart last year. So that tells you that, as much as I indicated, people are telling us they're going to go to shopping centers, they're also going to shop online through Amazon. So they're doing both.
Yeah, I know. I can't. I can't go a day without seeing one of the trucks, one of the vans driving down my street. It's amazing that trend.
It really is. Yeah.
What do you, as you look into your crystal ball, what do you foresee in the new year for the retail sector?
Well, I mean, let's hope we've seen the toughest come and go in terms of closures and people retreating from the market. As I mentioned off the top there earlier, we talked about Nordstrom leaving the country. We've seen Mastermind Toys going into receivership. These brands, again, it was on a panel at the Real Estate Forum last week, and we were talking about this. I mean, I don't quite know whether some of these brands, especially the US brands coming into Canada, just don't quite understand the Canadian consumer and understand how different that Canadian consumer is from the American counterpart. Having said that, there's many American retailers in Canada that do extremely well. I think the piece that's different or elusive is that wealthy individual and where it is that they're shopping and how they're shopping. And Nordstrom exiting, who knows what the future of Saks is in this country, but it's going to leave that sector pretty much completely to Holt Renfrew from a fashion department store shopping experience. I think that we're going to continue to see the flight to value at the consumer level. At a macroeconomic level, the Bank of Canada is saying no more rate increases and interest rates between now and the end of the year, which is a good thing. Have we seen the worst of the economy? And it's going to rebound a little bit. And I mean, the stock market seems to be rebounding a little bit from its lows a month ago, which is, it does at this time of year traditionally. But I think going forward into next year, I think retail is still going to be a tough business for retailers. And I think they just need to be sharp. I think many of them, sorry to blab on about this, I think many of them are very particular about new stores. The amount of money it costs to open new stores, construction costs are, at all-time highs. So the number of new stores opening across the country is challenged by cost. It's also challenged by availability when we're at a 98%, plus occupancy rate.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks, Tim, for joining us today.
My pleasure, Mario. Good to see you. Take care.
All right, super. That was Tim Sanderson, who is Executive Vice President of Retail for JLL Canada. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, Managing Editor of Canada's podcast, Taking Care of Business. Thanks for joining us today.